just can't stop, won't stop hustling. But I just
Grinders and grindettes, what's happening? Y'all already know who I am. Y'all know. Okay, y'all probably don't know who I am. But listen, if you're new to the channel, I go by the name of The Black Abstract. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'm trying to get my blue check, help a brother out, support. You can leave me a message if you want to talk about the show, if you got ideas for videos. I'm open to everything. And before we get started, I want to give a shout out to my sponsors. IamTrill.com. It's a website, Future Trillionaire Clothing. Make sure you go there. Enter the promo code Abstract when you check out. You get a little something off your order. You can pay with Shop Pay, Afterpay, Klarna, etc., etc. If you want to do payments or installments, it's all good. Just make sure you go there. CashApp is in the description below too if you want to donate and help the channel out. It's always welcome, and I'm grateful. So, BMF, episode 4, titled Heroes. Oh, man. Listen, every week I watch this show, and I'm like, all right, that was a great episode. And then I'm like, all right, well, I don't see how they're going to top this one. And every week they top it. I'm like, yo, how you keep topping these episodes? Like, this is so far removed from Power and what Power is. Like, and I say that I'm comparing it to because 50 Cent is executive producer. But like I said before, these stories, they all are, in a nutshell, they're all the same. They're hood story, hood tales, what's going on. But this is just refreshing. It's like a breath of fresh air. Just different atmospheres. It's a different setting. They're not in New York. They're in Detroit. Different slang. It's a timepiece. The actors are doing a hell of a job, man. And is it weird that Lamar is my favorite character of the show? Lamar and his light-skinned sidekick dude is like my favorite characters. And I know light-skinned sidekick ain't having a lot of screen time today. But Lamar, dude, he's just, this actor, and I believe he's British, just does an amazing job in this role. Like, he's just, it's weird because he's supposed to be like the antagonist, but he's a likable person. And you haven't seen him put in any work yet. It's implied that obviously he's about that life, but you haven't seen him take anybody's life yet or do anything of that sort. So you really don't. Not saying you can't. I mean, it's just hard not to like the guy. He's a character. He's a character and a half. And I'm the only person that gets mad. You know how at the beginning of the episode it shows that little saying from it'll have a quote from Big Meech stating about something about him and his brother, and it just goes by so fast. I'm the only person that gotta pause it and read it or rewind it, pause it just to read it and and go back to it. So anyway, let's get into the episode. This episode starts off with Lil Meech in the store trying to front for some girls, and he got the food stamps. Now listen, if you from the hood, the old school food stamps was in the booklet. They was in the little, it was like money, but it was like brown, white, or like tan and white, and you had to pull them out this booklet. And I remember, oh man, it was a fucking pain in the ass, man. Y'all don't even know how good y'all got it with the little debit cards now, if you get those. Yeah, it was a mess back then. So he gets embarrassed. Obviously, the store clerk embarrasses him. And it's crazy because this same guy is working in the store now. It might have been a flaw, but he looked like the same age as when Meech was smaller. So I'm like, oh, that's a flaw. But anyway, because he comes back later in the episode and he looks completely the same. But we see him come out, and then we see Pat. He gets embarrassed by the girls. They wind up buying his stuff, and then we see him going outside, and we see Pat like, yo, listen, tell him like, yo, don't worry about it, youngin. Here, take this. Buy your girl something. And listen, I be looking at the money when they're giving you. These be dollar bills. Plus it be hundreds, but these be dollar bills I be seeing. I'm like, even when Lamar dropped the money in the store, those was dollar bills. I ain't see no hundreds in there. Y'all better stop playing. Y'all better get better with your money game. But fast forward, what's going on now? We see Meech going to meet up with Pat, but they got a new spot. The new spot, you see the 8 Mile Road sign, so it's kind of far out. It's in the suburbs. Terry's like, yo, we didn't leave it to Beaverland. So they got a new stash spot. And I thought that was pretty dope. I'm like, yo, they I'm thinking maybe they gonna live there. If they were smart, that's probably what they would have been. But we see the bigger gentleman. I believe his name is Worm. I think it's Worm. And then we see Kato come in, and Meech immediately gets mad. Like, yo, what the like? Why y'all here? Like, y'all not supposed to know about this spot? They like, B Mickey sent us. And they're like, yo, where's B Mickey? And he's like, oh, he got something going on with his mom. And this is what I like B Mickey. I like him a lot because he's just about his things, but he's just starting to let shit go by the wayside. And I understand he got stuff going with his mom, but like that's an important situation. And I understand you and Meech not seeing eye to eye, but that's something that you should have kept under wraps. Only 3 people should have known. Only technically 2 people should have known about that spot. Meech and Terry. You shouldn't even told B Mickey. But if you are going to tell B Mickey should have just only one that should have knew, and he should have told nobody. That's the problem. They not on their P's and Q's. They don't have a tight ship that they're running, and you know, obviously it's gonna cost them. We see that Beach goes to meet with Pat, and he's telling Pat like, listen, I got money up front. This is what we want. We want 3 keys of coke. Yada, yada, yada. And dude, Pat is irate because you remember in the last episode, he said he wants to have their foot on their neck. He don't want them kind of exceeding him. And he like, listen, I'm going to give you this, and that's it. And he gets mad. And Meech's like, yo, what the fuck? Like, how you mad at us for, like, trying to exceed and step up? And he says something kind of slick to Pat. Pat got kind of mad at it. But anyway, he takes Meech in the back, or Pat's man takes Meech in the back, and he's pretty much telling Meech what we already know. Like, Pat ain't the man no more. He fell off. You know what I'm saying? And Meech kind of bringing up the fact that he plays with his nose. And he like, yo, everybody got a vice, man, whether it's booze, women, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, yo, he got a point. But he like, nah, man, like hitting crack, like that shit is out. And I like the fact that Meech stands by that. He knows, like, that's one thing you don't play with, like that crack, because that shit is addictive, highly. And he like, yo, that's why he ain't got no work, because he's smoking everything up. And dude trying to tell him like, yo, listen, I got a plug for y'all. Whenever y'all ready to step out, just let me know. So they like, all right, so cool. He brings that information back to Terry. Terry's like, all right, we should go with it. And he actually finally tells Terry that Pat is smoking. Terry's like, listen, everybody play what they know. Like, it's cool. Like, he like, nah, man, he hitting that glass dick. And that's what we used to call it in the hood. That glass stem, that stem. When you hitting that stem, it's that glass dick. And he like, nah. And they're like, all right, listen, we got to find somebody else. And Terry wants to go with Pat's man's idea. And I can't forget his name. Y'all know I'm old. Y'all know I'm bad with names. Tell me his name if y'all remember it. But he's like, yo, we got to go with, we should go with him. Meech is like, listen, so it's a dude in the projects that got a plug. We should put him in. And Terry like, listen, I don't like messing with grimy project niggas, yada, yada, yada. And Meech is like, nah, this is what we going with. And he like, yo, why we always got to go with your idea? He was like, cuz I thought about your idea, and I like mine's better. I'm like, yo, I liked that. That was pretty sweet. But ultimately, we know what ended up happening, man. It was pretty bad. We see that Terry is in the mall with his girl, his sister, and I believe his sister's boyfriend. That's who it was, Darius. And they're getting stuff ready for the christening for the baby. Terry winds up running into Lamar in the mall, and I thought this was a funny scene because prior to that, we see Lamar in Foot Locker with the crew, 12th Street Boys, and everybody's getting along. I'm like, okay, they all just decided that and accepted that Lamar was going to be the leader. And old boy was like, first of all, Lamar has everybody wearing Cortez, Nike Cortez, and I'm like, I don't know if that's weird or if that's dope, because I like Nike Cortez, but the fact that everybody got to wear the same, this is just what y'all uniform is. Like, everybody got to have a uniform. Guess that's just how some people do it. But him and old boy and the light-skinned dude, I like get into a little a little debate, and he was like, "Yo, spell that," and he was like, "SUCK." I thought that was funny. But anyway, Terry walks in there. They press him, and it's about to go bad for Terry. And I'm like, "Yo, this is what I thought Terry was going kind of like shape up on, is the fact like when he go to places, he has to have somebody with him. He got to have some kind of muscle with him because this gonna happen. And if he don't got no muscle on him, he should have a pistol on him or something. But it looked like he was just sleeping. He got caught slipping, and they would have did him bad if it wasn't for his baby mom and his sister and his family. You know what I'm saying? That's why I like Lamar too, because he got compassion. That's that old school gangster mentality. You off limits if you with your peoples or your family. We off limits. We'll catch you another time. You know what I'm saying? It's like Biggie said, like niggas like you do 10-year bids, miss the nigga they want, murder innocent kids. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of a situation like that. But like nowadays, these young boys, they ain't got no code like that. They don't care if that was they op they saw. They don't care if they was with his mom, his baby mom, his kid. They would have hit him, his mom, and his kid and then took a picture of it and posted it on Instagram or something. That's just how they go now. But anyway, they wind up letting them slide, and Terry's girl was like, "Yo, who the hell is that?" And she looked like fucking T-Boz too. I just realized that. Well, her hairstyle was reminiscent of T-Boz, which is funny. We see that they formed the new task force that's formed, is putting into action and plan, and this detective is still trying to cover up for Meechinham because if they get Meechinham, that comes back to him. So. Don't think he looking out for Meechinham. He really trying to cover his own ass because if anything happens to them, he know Meechinham could kind of spill the beans and it'll come down to him. Not saying they like that, but they young right now, man, and shit looking crazy. But anyway, they trying to figure out who killed J-Mo. Everybody's throwing out. The cop's partner is thinking that Mitri did it. Actually, another cop comes and intercepts and say, he thinks that Lamar did it because Lamar has a violent history and he's the one leading the 12th Street. The lady cop is like, listen, I don't care about none of that. We just want to find the bodies and just keep it pushing. So they really putting this in effect. And the cop he's Detective Brian. I'm sorry, let me stop calling cop. Detective Brian is really feeling the pressure right now. And he like, oh, man, I got to get the hell up on out of here. We see Meech and Terry at some club. They're going to meet with this new connect. And Meech is just thinking about the bras, man. Meech is a partier. And ultimately, they say this is what split them up. The fact that Meech was so flashy and Terry just wanted to be low-key with everything. But I think that's a kind of like a foreshadowing of this. That's why they did this. Meech buying bottles to girls. He trying to holler at the girl at the bar. And I knew she was the plug when she sat down. And I like how Terry just shot her down like, yo, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was like, oh, you going to buy a drink for the bar? He like, nope. And then and then she said something like something like she was like trying to flirt with him. And he was just like, nah, I'm good. And then Terry just like, yo, can we go? Like, dude, stiff this up. Can we go? And all the while, she was just watching and see how they were. You know what I'm saying? And good thing Terry was there because Meech got to get his head out his ass. We see at the food truck is booming, not only with the Stone Rock, but just with business in general. Like, business is just, like, doing great. And then we see Lamar show up, and I'm like, oh, this dude. And obviously we know how he found out. Kato, because there's no way he would have found that out unless he was following him, which is possible too. But he not only comes there, he brings the whole 12th Street with him. Had got everybody owning Stone Rocks, telling people about the secret menu. I'm like, oh my God, like Kato. The one lady was like, I want a Stone Burger. They like, yo, we closed for the night. We closed. And she like, yo, I wanted my food still. I still wanted my food. And what's dude's name? Slick. I think that's his name. Slick, the big guy. I thought I said Worm or something. I think it's Slick though. Anyway, they find out that they come to realize like the stash is not being what's the name. Oh, actually, that was later on. So yeah, they closed the joint down. And the next scene we see Meech and Terry go meet with Pat's man, and kind of. And this is what I was talking about. The store clerk was the same age as he was in the beginning, and they got like a secret door. They meet the dude, and he's pretty much telling them like, listen, I'm gonna set you up with such and such. It's gonna be good money. They give him a little money up front. He like, yo, I want some points on the package. They shut that down quick. Like, nope, this is what you get, and you get a little bit on the back end. But other than that, you're not getting it. And they won't. I don't know his. I can't. They won't show his name. I can't see. Anyway, so that they wind up having to meet somewhere. They get a word to meet somewhere else to see this guy, and shit went all bad. That was a crazy scene. This episode was so good. We find out that Meech has a kid. I said this in the first review. I said, yo, didn't they say he had a kid too? This nigga's a deadbeat of the year. Meech is a deadbeat. Like when have he don't bring the kid to his grandma. He the complete opposite of Terry. He keeping his kid a secret. He has been sending money, but he comes over, brings some chip. He like, yo, I brought some chips and I got a stuffed animal. She like, dude, you done ate them chips. And it's the old girl from not Power. What was that show? Empire. Soraya, I believe her name is. Looks like Rihanna a little bit. She comes over to see. They just chopping it up. Normal baby daddy, baby mom shit. Gonna find out she still lives at home. She a bum. But she working, and I can't say she a bum. She working, she saving up her bread. She kind of like, yo, Meech, I really don't need you for anything. And, he kind of got to respect it. He kind of just trying to, well, I did this. Did you get the money I sent? Yeah, holding the kid. She takes the kid from me. Like, why you do that? And she like, well, listen, you know why you really came over. And just takes her pants down. And I'm like, he a lucky dude. I mean, let's be honest. She is, I don't want to get into that. I ain't trying to get in trouble. But Meech handled his business. And he had a threesome last night. He told Terry, man, he had a threesome last night with 2 chicks. So, yeah, that's super sweet. Terry is meeting up with a lawyer that Snoop recommended, or Pastor Swift. That sounds like a shady name. I just thought about the Pastor Swift. And she's trying to find out more about the case. Pop obviously is getting irate because he's never easy about anything. I just don't like him. I'm gonna just be honest. I really don't. But she leaves and he's like, I don't trust her. And the mom's like, yo, why don't you trust her? Because it's Pastor Swift's niece or cousin or sister, some relation, or because she's a lawyer. And he was just like, both. And I'm like, oh, shit. So I don't know. I don't know if Terry ever got money for this. It seemed like he should be getting some money because it seemed like they definitely messed up. But the pops is just giving her the 3rd degree, man. And, obviously he gets all upset and gets on his code. And I wouldn't be surprised if the pops had a whole nother family and just use this as an excuse to go see his other fam. Something going to come out like that later. Mark my words. He got a whole second life he going to, and this is the reason he's trying to make it seem. Terry gives him a speech like, listen, I know you're upset, man, but this your family, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, man, why Demetrius ain't here or something? And I'm just like, dude, you like jealous of your damn son? Obviously, granted, it was, you don't want to accept the money, but what's done is done. And somebody wrote in my comments on the last review, how any self-respecting man take drug money or something? Dude, shut up. Like, shut up. You rather be on the street in a cardboard box or something? I understand it's drug money, but listen, it is what it is, man. Meech probably could have done it smoother. He could have just said it was a donation from the church or something. Who knows? But listen, yeah, like, Pops wasn't cutting it. That's what, I don't know. I don't get it. Back to the food truck, because this is where it gets good. We see they all out here. They got this one dude listed as main 50 boy. I'm about to get this dude name, big dude, and still don't see it on here. I'm gonna go with Worm then. All right, so Kato and them talking. They got the whole 50 boys out there now, guy in the joint, and dude's smarting up too, and that's why I like dude too, cause he's smart. He not just a big dumb dude. He like, yo, man, ain't nobody guarding the stash. Now what he should have did was probably took 2 dudes with him to go to the stash, but then again, it's the stash. They don't want nobody knowing where it's at, so I'm guessing that's why nobody else went. But he goes there, and he sees that they tore up the fucking shit. And they were waiting for Meech or Terry to come by. And luckily he was there because he was strapped and paying attention, kind of on point. Prior to this, we get a whole scene where Terry gets a call to meet. They got to go to the David Whitey residence, which is kind of like some prestige club, members only club. Him and Terry going there, hood as hell, talking to the clerk, who's a black dude, and they're like, yo, we supposed to be meeting such and such. They're like, he's like, that name's on the list. Meech's like, yo, you didn't even look at the list, man. Check again. Just super. Meech don't care, man. And dude's like, listen, it's a such and such up the street. Once you go there, and they're like, man, fuck this. I'm out. Like, and they go inside the bar, and I like, dude was like, he said like N-words. Like, that shit was good. But he said it like hood though. He ain't say it like, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, they go to the bar. They trying to get a drink. They ain't getting it. Then they go to have a seat. Somebody send them some shots with a note saying meet me out back. They go out back. They get some guns drawn on them. I'm like, yo, what the? I'm like, this is some serious. I'm thinking they about to meet like some dude like Lobos on from Power or something. Somebody super connected. I'm like, okay, he don't want them knowing where he at. I'm waiting for them to put bags over their head so they don't see where they going. But anyway, they throw him in the back of this van, and they ain't put up no fight at all. I'm like, damn, that's my life in the balance. I'm putting up some kind of fight. But anyway, they get to the location, and they see that it's Pat with his homeboy. So Pat done set this all up. I'm like, yo, Pat still got some pull because I didn't think he had no pull at all. But they get to this location, and he got a shovel. He digging something, and I'm like, it's about to go down. All right, so let's cut back to the scene because I'm going to do it just like how the TV show go. We're going to pause that for a minute. Cut back. My man Worm, I think that's his name. I don't know. I'm going to just call him that. He walks up in the stash spot. He sees everything. He like, fuck. And he hears a gunshot. Like, wow, so somebody's still in the house. He like, oh, luckily he had his thing on him. He busting back. They busting back too. He busting back. It's like, oh, this is good. Like, I'm like, oh, this is good stuff right here. He winds up catching somebody in the leg. We don't know who it is. We're going to find out later. So he about to go out and finish the job. And then we see Lamar with that AK. I think it was an AK. Tech. It was something automatic, like a semi-automatic. And he catch my man Worm in the arm. Worm wiggles over to a corner, just like a worm. And I'm thinking, oh, it's done all for him, man. And I think he was about to brave up and just go out like a G, like a boss. I think he lost his pistol because I didn't see him on him, or he wasn't squeezing it. He must have dropped it. And he about to get dusted. And then Kato comes out and busts a shot and scares off Lamar and shit. He runs away. I don't know why he run. He had a fucking what's the name, but I guess he didn't know how many more people was there, so he just got the hell out. So she wound up saving my man Worm. Okay, now back to Terry and Meech. This was crazy. So they in the middle of the woods. It's a duck. They got a shovel. They see Pat, and I'm like, oh, I know he ain't about to kill these little niggas, man. He ain't about to kill him. So he goes up and cranks the shovel up like he about to dust these fools, and winds up hitting his man. And then wind up just kind of like decapitating his head with the shovel. He's just like, I'm like, oh my, this nigga Pat is sick. I'm like, yo, he really got something wrong with him. He really got something wrong with him. All this because Meech the one that to branch off. I'm like, yo, what's wrong with him? But anyway, he makes Meech and Terry cover it up. And this is when I saw Terry is not really about that life because I don't think he's ever dealt with nothing like that. Meech is already greening me. Y'all know how I feel about Meech, but Meech handles certain situations a little better. Like he saw J Mo get killed, and he didn't want it to happen, but he was kind of cool with it happening. Like he got over it. Terry is just like in the christening, blacking out, thinking about this, and I'm like, this ain't good. This ain't good at all. And you can just tell like I'm not gonna say he not built like Terry just has a conscience, and it's like the new plug said, he is green. So this probably was his first time seeing something like that. Seeing a man get killed, and then you gotta bury the dude, like bury his body. You was just talking to this dude, so I could see that kind of take a toll on him. So they walking back to the car, and it's obviously some friction between them. And Meech like, yo, man, this ain't on you, and yada, yada, yada. And it kind of was on Terry because, like, Meech just wanted to go with the different plug. Terry wanted to go with this dude, and if they didn't go with this dude, who knows? He might still be alive. Who knows? But Terry calls him a narcissist. And Meech was just trying to, like, not make him feel bad and put the blame on him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all my fault. Like, don't be mad at yourself. Be mad at me. He's just trying to make it seem. And Terry is like, dude, stop it. Like, just shut the fuck up, please. You know what I'm saying? And they wind up driving off in the rain. They pull up to the stash spot, or they pull up somewhere. And Big Mickey shows up with his little funny head ass. And Worm is there. And they tell, like, yo, listen, Lamar got everything. And they're like, yo, how the hell only 5 people knew about the stash spot? Me, Terry, you, Mick, and Kato. And they're like, yo, fucking Kato. And these retards go right to bat for him. No. And then Kato's smart. She did that to cover her ass. Not only that, like, she did it to cover her ass because it seemed like she was down with them still. Like, she playing both sides. That's a dangerous game. So she bust her shot to kind of just save face and save herself. And she probably saved dude too, but more so just to save her face because, I mean, like she'd be if dude just got killed and there was nobody else around, they automatically like, well, you the only person that knew the stash was, you the one that did it. You know what I'm saying? So they vouch for her like, no, she couldn't do that. No. Meech snuffed the hell out of Terry or B Mickey because he like, where were you? Where you been at? He like, yo, my mom been sick, yada yada. And he like, yo, I don't care about none of that. Like, my business is better. And this remind me of a situation I just watched between Buster. It was by Busta Rhymes and this artist he used to call Reek the Villain. And Reek the Villain was on Mav's show. And he was talking about what happened with him and Busta Rhymes. And Reek was trying to get some bread. Somebody owed him some bread, but they told him he had to wait till the next day. But Busta Rhymes had to fly to L.A. the next day. And I guess Reek was not only his artist, but that was his, like, he used to drive him around. And Reek was like, yo, I can't fly out today. I could fly out tomorrow. Busta like, nah, like, this is my business. And he was like, yo, I just got some personal things I got to take care of. And Busta Rhymes kept saying, listen, your personal life ain't over my business. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, damn, that's fucked up. Like, he could have been anything. And that's remind me of that situation. So he swung off on B Mig. B Mig took it like a G. But, he going through shit. But anyway, they wind up finding J-Mo's body. And his old trainee kind of calls him out. Like, listen, if I did this for you, you got to stand up and be the detective you trained me to be. And he kind of just calls him out for being just like a piece of shit cop, just being crooked and shit. And dude ain't like that at all. He ain't like that at all. We go to the christening, and Terry's having these, I told you he's having these premonitions, or not premonitions, but just like these illusions of old boy getting killed. And it's kind of messing with him. And I thought he was about to drop that damn baby. They show the baby in the grave. I'm like, oh, he about to drop this damn baby in this church. Please, Lord, don't let him do it. I said, but he was going through it, man. He was really going through it. Poor dude, too, man. Rest in peace to my man. I can't remember his name for shit, but rest in peace to him, dude. He ain't had to go. Pat ain't had to do him like that. He did not have to do that, man, like that. But anyway, Detective Bryant comes up to the church to see Meech. And it was right at a wholesome moment. Terry's like, oh, this is like family reunion. Everybody's here. Are you coming to eat with us, Pops? The Pops like, yeah. Then Detective Brian comes up and says that bullshit. Meech denies him. He refuses to go down to the station. And there's nothing they really could do because he ain't got no warrant. He didn't say you were arrested. So they had to walk away. And Meech just turns back and he keep walking away. And he with that girl Soraya too. Oh. Anyway, the Pops looks and sees Terry car has I guess rims on it now, or maybe it's a different car. But he just gets heated, dude, and just walks away. Oh, I'm not gonna be eating with y'all now. And she like, yo, why? Why? And I'm like, yo, this dude is such a bitch. Like, why you acting like this, dude? Like, you just such a. Oh man, I just wanna snuff him, dude. Just really want to snuff him. We see Kato at her crib, and I was just like, she's out of here. I knew something was going to happen because I'm like, yo, Lamar ain't going to let that slide, the fact that she shot at him. And I'm like, yo, ain't no way he going to let this slide. He not going to let it slide. Sure enough, he was lurking in the saddles in the apartment. And I'm like, yo, this broad is so dumb. She don't even go in there and check her lights out. She don't go, she ain't got her pistol out. He throw her on the floor quick and easy. Put his gun into her head, then put his gun in her mouth. I'm like, this nigga super disrespectful. And I told you, she was like, oh, I had to play it off. And he was like, yo, don't forget what side you on. It seemed like you know what I mean? And she like, no, it's not it. I'm like, yeah, all right, man. That was crazy. I thought she was about to get dusted, man. Rightfully so, though. But she's frustrated, so she goes take her frustrations out and go get on that magic stick. But what she really doing is just trying to make herself look less guilty because she know if she bones beat Mickey, he gonna go to bat for her even more now because now he in that booty. So she know what she doing, man. Females always know what they doing, man. They slick. And yeah, man, beat Mickey and Kato, man. She got a little booty on her too, man. Shout out to B Mick. And they use safe sex. She said, what kind of condom you got? He like, man, I got all three. We see Meech goes to visit Detective Howard. He got a nice little knot for him. Howard like, yo, this is over with. We found the body. You said you didn't do it. Meech like, man, I didn't do it. And which he didn't do it. B Mickey did. He's like, yo, when I saw that boy, he was fine. And he like, man, Brian ain't buying it though. He like, man, I ain't buying that shit. So we see that Meech kind of got on some gangster shit with him though. Like, man, this ain't over till I say it's over, man. He put the money in the mailbox because he's like, because you need me just as much as I need you. I'm like, I don't know what the hell that mean because I don't really think he needs you, but he does. It goes back to what I said. He got information on the cop. So if anything happens to Meech, he can always be like, well, Detective Howard, it's going to be hard to prove it. It might not be hard to prove it, but he could say that. Like, listen, he was on my payroll. Which he was. We see Lamar at the crib tucking the little baby in, and he give Cash down. And I know her name ain't Cash down in the series. But he gives her like this nice little diamond necklace. I'm like, oh, look at Lamar. And she like, where'd you get it from? And he like, I could tell you, or I could just put it on you. And man, soon he put that bracelet on, her thing was like the Niagara Falls. That shit was like, whoosh. And he tries to make a move. She like, Lamar, no. And then she couldn't wait. She just started busting that thing open. She was busting it open, man. Ain't had a sock. Ain't took the socks off and everything. You know what's good when they take the socks off. Cashed out, had them legs all in the air. She had them pretty feet all in the air. I said, oh, cashed out, man. So you could tell she was pregnant in this too, man. But she busted right open, man. Shout out to Lamar for getting that old thing back, man. She couldn't hold it back no more. Like I said, as soon as that necklace came on, it's just splash lagoon in that bitch. It's like the levees broke in that bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like the levee broke in that thing, man. We see Terry meeting up with somebody. I thought it was Meechie's meeting up with. Come to find out, it was a lady from the bar who is the plug. So they got a female plug. I forget the name. And Cash Doll name is Monique. I'll keep calling her Cash Doll in the series, but you know what she said to Lamar? She said, "Ice me out, ice me out, hey, ice me out." Anyway, they meet up. She meet up with the plug, and she tells Terry, "Listen, I only want to deal with you. I don't want to deal with your bozo ass brother. He too loud." Terry like, "Cool." And then we hear a narration to where me just saying, "Listen, we wanted to get away from Pat. He was a father figure that was wrong with me, but I had already planted seed in Terry's ear or mind, so he was doing the same thing to me and shit." You know what I'm saying? It's pretty much saying like it was foreshadowing what he did. But hey, listen, man, if they still doing business, it don't matter who got to connect. You know what I'm saying? That might be better for me. It's like you get caught up or something. Like, man, I don't know who it is. You really don't know who it is. But all in all, man, listen, great episode. Great episode. I just found out another show I watched just came back on. I forget the name of it. It's about the girl that used to be on Chicago. It don't matter. But anyway, this was a great episode. Post your comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Share this to your friends, your mom, your family, any Facebook groups you might be in, Twitter. Let's get this popping. The last video did great. I want this one to do the same. Post comments. If there's anything I missed, if you got any predictions for next week's episode, post them in the comments. Let's talk about this. I love discussing this with you guys in the comments, man. Y'all be having some great point of views, and y'all be having some great predictions. So let's keep it going. Let's keep the momentum going. So, like I said, make sure you like, subscribe. If you can follow me on social medias, I would greatly appreciate that too. I will be dropping a video next month. My first video in 6 months, because I dropped a Buffalo Bills video. But it's my first real video that I'm doing. It's called Work Hard. It's the song at the beginning. Y'all gonna love it. Shot it a couple of days ago. I appreciate all the support. Till next time, peace and love and prosperity. And hustlers, movers, shakers. Let's get going.